At JTL, the well-being and safety of our people is paramount. Whether you're a colleague, learner or visitor to one of our centres or offices, we want you to work in the safest conditions at any time. With the new normal on the horizon, we've come to our Birmingham centre to see what life looks like as we return to JTL centres and offices. We've put in plenty of measures that we hope will protect and reassure you as we return to life in our centres and offices. So, let's take a look around. Our easy to follow measures start as you approach your JTL centre or office. You'll find markings on the ground and door showing the distance you'll need to keep from other people and reminding you of other overall measures in place. This distance must be kept from others at all times in accordance with current government guidelines while you're on any JTL premises. You'll see that external doors with keypad access still have these in place for security and safeguarding reasons. However, you'll find hand sanitizer stations throughout our centres and offices. Please note that you should use this or wash your hands immediately on arrival. If your centre has a formal reception area, you might notice new perspex screens where social distancing isn't otherwise possible. You can also now sign in contactlessly using an app. Ask your tutor, line manager or business contact if you need details. You'll still need to set up the app for the first time. As well as guidance displayed around our buildings, all staff and learners will receive a centre-specific induction from the COVID officer or their line manager on their first time back in the building. Please be aware that no drop-in visits are allowed. This includes staff, learners and visitors. Anyone entering a JTL building must have arranged to do so in advance. If you're not sure how this applies to you, check with your line manager, tutor, training officer or business contact. Masks are not mandatory, but will be provided for use where government-guided distancing may be difficult. The use of a face covering is not a replacement for observing our social distancing guidelines. Please make sure that any PPE is always disposed of properly and promptly in bins provided. One-way systems have been put in place through JTL buildings wherever possible. You'll see markers around and be given information specific to your centre or office during your COVID induction. You'll also spot wait areas and required social distancing marked out on floors. Please use these and apply common sense and patience when moving around. To reduce contact with door handles, we've fixed open internal doors as much as possible, including fire doors. If a door is open, please don't close it. If you do need to use a lift, please be aware these are only for one person at a time. As through the rest of our premises, government-guided spacing will of course be adhered to throughout our working spaces. You might find some desks are now taped off or removed to ensure we're keeping the safest relative distance. One-way systems will also be in operation wherever possible. If you're in an office, please make sure you keep all of your belongings within your workstation space. Don't hang up jackets or share equipment. Try not to share any paper documents, use online systems instead. We've arranged for additional daily cleaning with increased intensity, focusing on common touch areas. However, if you'd like to clean down your own working area at any time, rest assured that equipment to do this will be available in all offices. Our meeting and conference rooms will be subject to the same distancing guidelines as elsewhere. Please keep use of all communal spaces to a minimum, making sure any meetings are as short and essential as possible with minimal participants. If your office has access to an outdoor area, why not consider holding any meetings outside? If you're a learner, you might see some other obvious changes. Group sizes might be limited, for example, and only one person will occupy a workshop bay at any time. If you're given gloves to use or PPE, please ensure you wear and dispose of these properly. We've also arranged for extra cleaning every day with increased intensity through workshop and classroom areas. You'll still be asked to clean down any tools used at the end of every practical session. It doesn't take long and all equipment will be provided. You'll get a demonstration on how to do this from the tutor leading your class. All of our working spaces will be ventilated with open windows wherever this is safe and possible, and you'll find hand sanitizer throughout buildings. Even if your building has a canteen service, please consider reducing the impact on others by bringing in your own food, drinks, cutlery and crockery wherever possible. In our kitchen and canteen areas, please make sure social distancing is still maintained and don't use any communal area for longer than necessary. A one-in, one-out system will be in place in most office kitchens due to space. You might see that disposable plates and cutlery are offered in your centre or office. If you do need to use reusable cutlery or crockery, please make sure this is washed up immediately. Please also wipe down surfaces after you've used our kitchen spaces. You'll always find equipment available. Our toilet facilities are now limited to one person in the whole washroom at a time. You'll find vacant and engaged signs on each main door to them. Just slide the sign over when you enter and leave. You can use a pen to avoid touching the sign with your hands if you want to. Hand sanitizer stations like the ones you've seen today will be available throughout our buildings. Make sure you use these or wash your hands regularly throughout your day. Avoid touching your face, and if you do need to cough or sneeze, cover your face with a tissue or your arm. While we're using the measures you've seen today, please be aware that anyone showing symptoms at any time on JTL premises will be asked to leave immediately. Full cleaning will be undertaken if this happens. We hope it doesn't need saying, but if you do have any symptoms, please don't come to our premises. We'll be very happy to speak to you over the phone, video call, email, or any other means, as long as you're feeling up to it. For the time being, we'd encourage you to minimise the use of any public transport. Consider walking or cycling wherever you can, and don't car share with anyone outside your household. If you do need to use public transport, think about wearing a face covering. We've made sure non-contact deliveries to our buildings are possible, such as changing ordering patterns and using pick-up and drop-off points. No personal orders or deliveries must be made to any JTL premises. If you're a JTL colleague, you might also find some extra changes to help maintain social distancing and minimise face-to-face contact you have with others. These will depend on the centre or office you're based at. For example, you might find start, finish and break times staggered, staff put into set bubbles, so each person only works in their office with a set number of other people, and removing hot desking. You can find information on our work from home guidance and sickness policy at any time on JTL Central. If you're a learner and have any questions before coming back to a JTL centre, just drop a line to your training officer or tutor. They'll be happy to help you out. Like all organisations, we're having to adapt in these challenging times. But we know that with everyone's efforts, things can be as close to normal as safely possible. When it's time for you to return, we're looking forward to welcoming you back. We'll do what we do best in person, training the next generation of the country's top electricians, plumbers and heating engineers. See you soon.